Good? Good in the back? Okay. All right, everybody, welcome. Please silence your cell phones. Those of you that have joined us this evening, raise your hand if you've got a question and we'll bring you the mic. Please state your name and affiliation as well. The Kansas State locker room is now open for 30 minutes. We'll begin with an opening statement from the coach, followed by questions for the student athletes, and finally questions for the coach. So with that, we're joined by head coach Jeff Mitty, student athletes Kayla Goth, Brianna Lewis. Coach, an opening statement, please.
Well, first off, congratulations to Coach Staley and her players. I thought they've got a fantastic team, well-deserving of their ranking, well-deserving of one, the year that they've had so far, but I thought they played very well tonight. I thought the crowd was a fantastic crowd. I thought it was a crowd that, once again, as we've talked about previously in press conferences, that really has really embraced women's basketball. And you know, for our sport, it's big to have environments like that across the country. Now, one of the things I'm disappointed with is that I think that when you have one of these 4-team tournaments, I think the local paper should cover the tournament, and I think they should cover the players in the tournament. And I did not think that was done at a first-class level here, and I didn't think it was done at a level that was appropriate for the teams in the tournament, because we've got a player sitting right here that is a potential All-American that is barely a blip on the screen in the state. And that is a disservice, I think, to our players, and I think it's a disservice. Our George Washington article could be found about like that coming into this game. So those things to me are disappointing when you have what I think, guys, is one of the best fan bases. It's amazing what has been done here, but I really think you've got something great here, but I also think that the other players in the tournament deserve some things there too, because we've got one sitting to the right here that's got a chance to be an All-American as well.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for the student athletes up front?
Oh, Brianna, you know, you were really doing some work early in there. It just, what was the feeling like around you that you weren't getting a lot of help? It seemed like you were having your way, but what was the mood among your teammates about maybe doing some more?
I mean, I feel like my teammates were doing a great job of getting the ball to me. So, I mean, regardless of other people not producing, I was going to produce regardless, because, I mean, I'm going to play my hardest. So, I mean, I really didn't let it affect me. I just did what I could to get some more points on the board for my team.
Other questions for the student athletes up front?
For Kayla and Brianna, just could you describe the journey that you guys took this year and how good you feel about next year and taking another step forward?
I feel like throughout this season we played some really tough teams, and our team has progressed a lot. And, I mean, next year, I'm really looking forward to next year, because I feel like we have something special. And each day our team comes in to work hard and play hard. And we know now we have played great teams, so we know what it takes to get to the next level, and we're just going to continue to work at it.
Question in the middle.
Ladies, was it Mitchell and their transition game off their defense that really kind of gave them a cushion there, maybe late in the second half?
I think transition D coming into the game was big for us, and I don't know if it necessarily turned out the way we wanted it to. But we really needed to get in front of her and stop her and try to get her to change directions a few more times, and we didn't necessarily get that done right away.
Up front?
Brianna, you guys got a goal by getting Wilson on the bench early. Did you think right then it's like, okay, we can get a foothold in this game and really start taking off?
I mean, yeah, but, I mean, they have other players that are pretty good, so that was something that we wanted to do. But, I mean, yeah, I guess.
Other questions for the student athletes? Thank you, ladies. Questions for Coach Mitty up front?
And Jeff, same thing. You get Wilson on the bench early. Did you start to think, okay, we can kind of get a foothold and really be competitive in this first half?
Well, turnovers gave us a problem. We just couldn't. Their pressure, they really got into us on the wings, and that took away maybe any advantage that we might have. Now, Bree said it. It's not that they don't have depth in there. They can run people in there, but Wilson's a fantastic player. And, yeah, sure, when you get her on that bench early, you're thinking, okay, this gives us an opportunity to take advantage of that. And we just didn't play well enough to do that. We had trouble staying as disciplined as we needed to in that stretch.
Question on the left side.
Jeff,
No, go ahead.
Jeff, were the turnovers more, were they more South Carolina's pressure, or was it just your team not being as disciplined as you want?
Well, let's give South Carolina credit. They really pressured us. We did have some communication issues of where we didn't want to throw the ball, and that was on us. But when we made some mistakes, they jumped them, and that's to their credit, because many times you get away with those mistakes against lesser teams. But tonight, when we made mistakes, they jumped on them.
Question up front.
Talk about the defense they did on Kindred tonight. It seemed like she just couldn't break free at all.
Yeah, and that has been one of the things that we have struggled with. If we're not able to make people pay down low, or Dynas struggled tonight. If Dynas isn't struggling as our number 2 or 3 option, that allows them to really lock onto Kindred. And they did a great job on her. She doesn't get a shot in the first half. Doesn't get a shot. We come out, we try to run some things early to get her some looks, but it was very hard. Her first look, I think, was that breakaway layup, that she got. So it was hard. They have one of the things, I think Sessions does a great job defensively. I think she's very quick, changes direction well, has a great awareness. Their guards are pretty good there.
Up front.
Jeff, just looking at the overall year, you guys, didn't start out great in Big 12, but came back, got to the tournament. How good does that make you feel about the program going forward, especially with Lewis coming back?
Yeah, I've said that I'm really proud of this group. They really overachieved in a lot of ways, and we have talent, but we also know that we have some flaws that we've got to cover up. And this was a year that was critical, I think, to gain some traction, and we did that. Not only did we gain some traction, but we took some steps forward that maybe weren't expected. I thought the win the other night was huge for us, because so many times when the team does that, they're just happy to be in it, and they're just, hey, we're in the tournament, this is great. And I said early in this, I think the first press conference, I said, I've never worried about that with our group, really, because they come every day to work hard. And so, real proud of our group. I wish we'd have played a little better tonight, but I think South Carolina had an awful lot to do with that.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Kansas State locker room is open until 9:42. South Carolina will be along shortly.
This
All right, the South Carolina locker room is now open for 30 minutes. Please raise your hand when you've got a question and we'll state your name and affiliation. We'll bring you the mic. All right, we're joined by head coach Don Staley, student athletes Khadijah Sessions, Tiffany Mitchell, Elena Coates. Coach and Eli. Coach, an opening statement, please.
Just happy to host the first and second rounds. We had, 4 great teams to, come to South Carolina and display their many talents. But I was really proud of the effort on both sides of the ball from our ball club tonight, and it's a really good feeling knowing that we were able to send our seniors out. Well, they were able to carry us on to a last game in Colonial Life Arena, and the fans showed up like they have done for the past few seasons, and just really proud of the atmosphere that was in the gym today.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for the student athletes only. Up front.
Tiffany, Aja takes a seat pretty quick into the game. Was that just kind of your cue to say, all right, I've got to give me the ball?
Our post players are a big part of what we do. So when one goes out, you kind of got to pick it up on the defensive end so we can create some offense for ourselves.
Left side.
Elena, just how difficult and different of a day was it today for you?
It was difficult in the sense of at a certain point having to play a type of defense that I'm not used to playing, and it kind of didn't work. So just trying to find different, looks in how to stop their big girl. And besides that, I don't really feel it was that much of a bad. That kind of day.
Question on the right side.
Tiffany and Khadijah, could you just talk about what that was like coming out for the last time at the arena here?
For me, I wanted to cry, but I didn't cry. It was a time I'm always going to cherish, remember. Gamecock Nation has been a real big part of my life. They make it so fun to come in here and play this game with these girls. They have created the best fan base in the country. And I will say this, thank you for everything you have done for me in the past 4 years.
I agree. There was a lot of emotions. I'm not trying to cry. So,
Stop.
It's a great feeling.
Question up front.
Elena, same thing. When Aja takes a seat early, how do you and the other guards kind of try to get it among yourself to say, okay, we got to pick it up now?
We just noticed where the weaknesses lied, and we just really had to attack it within the opponent's defenses. We saw where we could easily get the ball inside. We saw that we already know that pounding the ball inside is going to open it up for our guard. So we just stuck to that game plan. Even if Aja didn't get in foul trouble, that's always the plan. Pound it inside. We're going to make it available for you guys to get your shots off.
Question up front.
I'm not sure with pregame prep if y'all got to see it, but Syracuse has already advanced. You get them in the first round. AZ State, Tennessee playing right now. Just first thoughts on Syracuse, and then thoughts on the whole Sioux Falls regional. Looks like there'll be the top 4 seeds might be there.
Well, sorry. We're going to get everybody's best basketball, so we're just going to have to be prepared. From here on out, everybody's just going to give us their 110%. We're just going to have to come back harder than that.
Question in the middle.
Khadijah and Tiffany, as important as the bigs are to this team, when you guys can, as you talked so many times about using the defense to create transition offense, and when you get that rolling and the crowd gets into it, it seems like that's when this team is everything is clicking. Could you feel that out there, especially in that second quarter, when you guys seem to build a little bit of separation?
Yeah, I think so. That's when we're at our best. When we're getting out in transition, we're getting easy buckets. And then we're clicking inside, so then the outside opens up for us, so we have easy looks at the basket. So once we get going transition, I think we're pretty good.
And I'm just pumping the crowd up. That's it.
Question in the back.
Tiffany, what are you going to miss most about playing in this arena?
I mean, just the support that we've had the past 4 years. It's just crazy how much I've seen the program change. I mean, I committed when I was in 11th grade, and I could count the people in the stands. Now I can't count any open seats. So the turnaround that this program has had and the support that we've gotten from Gamecock Nation is just unbelievable, and that's probably what I'm going to miss the most.
Question on the left side.
Khadija, kind of one of the same questions. How special was it after the game, after everything was done, just kind of running around, seeing everybody cheering and applauding for you, and just taking it all in? What was that like?
It was just a great feeling, but I did that because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it in Sioux Falls. and I know nowhere else is going to feel like that, so I wanted to go crazy, and that's the only time I get to do stuff like that. You know, Coach really don't like that craziness, but I did it on purpose for her.
Question in the middle.
You doing Sioux Falls?
Despite the little bit of a ragged start the other night after the 12-day layoff, y'all look at your last 4 games. I mean, where do you feel like this team is in terms of how well you're playing heading into the regionals?
I mean, we're playing good basketball right now. We're playing, our best basketball, and then around this time we need to be. So I think we're in a good place right now.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Up front.
Have any of you ever been to South Dakota?
Never been to South Dakota, ever. Never thought I'd be there, but I guess we're going to see on Tuesday.
Nope.
No.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
You want to keep Eli or no? Oh, he's coming.
Bye. That's your responsibility.
So that's a no.
Questions for Coach Staley? Up front.
Yes, Coach, tonight this was Elena's 19th double-double this season. How much is that a luxury as a coach to have someone that just about every night you can rely upon that's going to give you double figures in points and rebounds?
It is a luxury, and I think we have a few of our post players that give us that luxury. I think Lay does a great job at taking other people's rebounds because she's one that, can rebound out of her area. She goes to get the rebounds, and she's quite selfless when it comes to all the other stuff that comes with playing our game and playing, for our, the players that's on our roster.
Question up front.
Dawn, how much of a luxury is it to have a player like Tiffany, especially somebody like AJ has to take a seat early, and Tiffany just doesn't even need the coach to say, I got it?
I mean, she's, Tiffany Mitchell has been that for us for the past couple of seasons. She knows when to turn it on and when to turn it off and when to, kind of fly under the radar. But I do think she made a conscious effort when Asia went out to just step up and know that, we needed to, not feel Asia sitting on the bench for the majority of the game.
Question in the middle.
Same question I asked to them earlier about you look at your last 4 games, just regardless of the rough start the other day. How do you feel like this team is playing right now heading into the regionals?
Well, I think we're playing games pretty consistently. I don't know if we're practicing that way. I think at this stage of the game, practices are pretty boring to players, but it's key to our preparation as we play teams that, we maybe played once or played twice in the past 2 years. But, they're a little different group because they can not play so well, practice so well, and then turn around and give you that kind of effort, but it still puts you on edge as a coach, trying to figure out what team is going to take the floor.
Question up front.
Yes, Coach, could you kind of describe the satisfaction that the game played out in a manner in the final home game for that senior crew that's been so important, that it played out in a way that allowed you to kind of give them their individual curtain call?
I mean, because we're playing our best basketball, we afforded ourselves to be able to salute and honor our seniors in that manner. They, have been the cornerstone of our program for the past 4 years. It was only right to have, 10,000 people who have watched them grow and mature, send them off in the kind of ovation like they did.
Left side. Okay. Go ahead, Pete.
Don, talking of luxuries, just the fans here again. You turned on other sites out there for the women's game, and you saw a bunch of empty seats. You wouldn't have seen that if you were watching TV here. What does that say about this place and how quickly they've embraced everything that you guys do?
It's quite incredible. Other coaches around the country, when they see all of us on the recruiting trails, they ask us, what are we doing? And, there's some marketing behind it, but it is word of mouth. It is, our fans enjoy the atmosphere that they create in our arena. And they tell people, and if they can't make the games, they give their tickets to their friends to make sure, people are sitting in those seats and cheering extremely loud. It was really, really loud in there, and I can't, thank our fans for just writing a script, because I don't know if it's ever been done like this, ever, in any program.
Question on the right side.
Don, in talking about your fan base, some of your players were saying the other day that they think you've picked up a lot of fans in that fan base from other schools. It might be fans of other schools in football or something like that, but that just like your team so much that they've latched onto it. Have you seen that as you've kind of gone around town or gone around the state over the last few years?
Well, I just think that we pull from, a variety of places. Obviously, when you're a Gamecock fan, you want to be a part of a winning program, whether that's football, baseball, softball, basketball. You want to be, you want to help put whatever, product that's out on the floor in the best position to win. And it's not just South Carolina fans. It's people in the community that have never been, to a South Carolina athletic event. They're coming to our games, so it's an incredible, beautiful, view as you look, all around the stadium. It looks like no other, and I think they latch on to the players. Our players got pretty great personalities. It's social media. We try to respond to all of our fans. So if you follow me, I'm probably lighting up your timeline on Twitter, because I try to retweet to let our fans know that they are much appreciated. And if I don't give a response, the retweet lets them know I hear them, I feel them, I see them.
When you say it looks like no other, the fans, you mean diversity, or what do you mean?
Diversity, just people who have never, I've talked to people who have never, been to a sporting event on our campus, but yet they show up for our games, and they just feel like they're a part of it. And that's us being personable throughout the, wherever we go. If I'm on a recruiting trip locally, if I'm at the grocery store, if I'm riding around on my bike, people are really, really genuinely care about what we're doing.
Back left on camera.
Don, for many programs, the Sweet 16 is a really big deal. For your program, is it still a big deal after you've been there a few times? And I'm wondering what the balance is between celebrating, advancing to the Sweet 16 and knowing that you're not done yet.
I mean, it's still a really big deal because if, you look back 6, 7, 8 years ago, I'd much rather trade places, and, it being this, in this phase of our program. It's a big deal because we don't get to hear very often. And I'm quite sure that, all the 16 coaches that lost today and will want to think this is a big deal to be in the Sweet 16 or not, or rather not be in the Sweet 16. So yes, we're gonna smell our flowers as we continue to advance in this NCAA tournament because you never know. So we want to enjoy it.
Question up front.
Tone, first thoughts on matching up with Syracuse again. You haven't faced them in a year. And then maybe some of the other teams in the pod, you're going to be probably familiar with all of them.
We are. We're familiar with all of them. Syracuse is playing a little bit, more up-tempo. I doubt if they play us the same way they played us last year, packing it in, because they've pressed, for 40 minutes all year long. And I doubt if they change who they are and what they bring to the table since it's worked. It's got them into their program's first ever Sweet 16. So, we have to bring our best effort.
Question in the middle.
You told the crowd, go home and do your laundry. I mean, do you expect some of your diehards will follow you to South Dakota?
Oh, some of them already, have their tickets, have their plane tickets, and they're ready to go. So, I won't be surprised, to have a handful of people there supporting us.
Any last questions for Coach Staley? Thank you.
Thank you.